yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. Pain for their disease. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Feed like a disease, bring them to their knees. You'll pay for their deceit. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we want retribution. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring them to their knees. No pain for their deceit. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we just want retribution. Let's go light up the darkness. Make true of an empty promise. Flip cards into weak and harmless. Take to the streets and turn them to a mosh pit. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Feed like a disease, bring them to their knees. You'll pay for their deceit. Rage is like a weed, spread into the streets. It's time to make them bleed. 'Cause we want retribution. 'Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience.
All right. Check, check, check. Testing, check. All right. Okay. There's like a 30-second delay. Let me swap music. Let me see. Hope everybody's doing well today. If you're watching this replay, as we are preparing to dive back into the world of Andor, Star Wars, all of that. Let's see. No, not that. Not that one. Might be this one. This is fine. Okay. We're back. Like I said, hope everybody's doing well today. If you're watching this replay. And as always, okay. I'm constantly still getting comments on various videos here on the channel. If you're watching this replay, okay. Nudge it down some. I don't want it to be louder. Music be that loud. We should be good. But yeah, we're back. What an episode. Episode 9 was indeed a very fun episode this week. I had a lot of fun watching this one, rewatching it, taking in a lot of the scenes and stuff that had transpired. Just this past Wednesday. And as always, I'm trying to give everybody roughly 48 hours to watch. Just basically, depending on, people's schedules and stuff like that. And of course, constantly working on, more content for the channel. Thinking of stuff to upload, to talk about here on the channel from my perspective, and to be able to have videos be engaging as possible, without wasting people's time, because that's not what I particularly enjoy doing. But this stream will, as always, be dependent upon if people pop into the stream and want to talk. Now, last week's episode 8, last week's stream discussion went very well. We had various people in the comments and talking about stuff, so it was just a fun time. And hopefully this week will be the same. Sorry. All right. With that, let's dive into it. And the hope is that people would pop into the stream today and we can just have a fun time and chill. And I put together some stuff. I put together various things for the stream. I'm going to be in the background for a lot of this stuff. That's not what I wanted to do. The wrong thing. So that we can make it do what it do. Oh yeah. So, like I said, I'm trying to do scene for scene, um, and just various discussions. There was some stuff that I just like pulled. Let me see. Well, let me get rid of the camera. Oh, that's not what I want to do. There we go. What the crap? Hold on, let me There we go. That was weird. Get rid of that. Okay, so the opening. Yeah, guys, like Dedra, our girl, Dedra was on some stuff. She was ruthless. The interrogation conversation with Bix here, Bix Colleen, was very intense. And Dedra, because she gained the resources that she got from from Yularen that she needed, with of course with Corcus in the background, yeah, this opening, and I love how Dedra was when she was talking to Bix. She would lean in on, towards her, to the side of her, and she would specifically say things, whisper things, just because she was trying to get, the information that she needed from Bix. And she, again, just had specific things that she was saying to her that in the beginning, Bix, from this scene, she felt confident that, Dedra wasn't going to get what she wanted. And again, Dedra knew what to say. She brought up specific key things about Cassian, about Luthen. She, of course, was able to break Pack per the means of Corcus with his basically like a white noise machine. And she was able to tell Bix, like, Pac says that you met up with Axis 6 different times. I think she said it in a specific tone to. She said to Bix in a specific tone, like, you met with him 6 times, and she said it like 2 or 3 extra times, just to reinforce that, whatever you're trying to tell me, that's not the truth. This is the truth, because we were able to break Pac and gain that information. And again, and with that, guys, like the bottom left corner, the image there with how she's looking at Bix, when Bix tells her, you're not even gonna believe me, are you? And she says, no, I'm afraid not. And she, like, her facial expression twitched, her face twitched before she decided to fully stand back away from Bix. That was, like, I felt like, to me, that spot there was just like, it was just dope. Now, per the episode, they were doing a lot of bouncing back and forth. But I still feel like that there were key things that were happening per each scene. But with that, Bix kind of just like got pushed to the wayside in this episode, which I found kind of interesting. Like, I really found that kind of interesting. Got another comment on it. On here. So that's why I'm saying, like, Bix, once they did what they did with her, in in a moment, that's when they just kind of just like brushed her to the side. Now, once we got with Cashin, and I talked about this in last week, that I felt in the stream last week that I felt like Cashin was not a main, even though he's a main player in the story itself. He's just like I felt like the other key characters like Dedra, like Luthen, the ISB and stuff like that, I felt like they were taking up the bulk of what us, the fans of the show, are coming to see. Because Cashin's story is technically straightforward when it's pertaining to his character in the show, while everybody else is just going in a specific direction, and it flows in a specific direction. But per episode 9 from this past Wednesday, I felt like this was a better spot that was beneficial for Cashin, period, in the show. So yeah, once we get back to the prison, that's when we see that, even with what I'm saying though, I was more invested with Cashin in episode 9 per what he was doing in the prison, because we do see him doing specific things. When he first got here, he was assessing specific areas, looking at specific people, while them telling them to keep his eyes forward. I honestly believe that they were doing that because of Random Kyle. What's going on, dude? How are you? Yeah, why not? It should happen. So why not? They should. They really should. And I hope that they do. I believe that they will. I believe that there's going to be some spin-offs coming, even if it's just maybe 2 at best. Hopefully it'll be ISB. Hopefully centered around Dedra. And, we'll see what happens. But, with that, guys, I feel like I was more invested with Cashin's character in episode 9 per the prison. Even though he was doing specific things when he first got here, looking around, assessing various things, looking at various things, and then eventually, he gets comfortable. He's been here for, I want to say, roughly 2 months at best, because once we get to episode 9, it has been a full month in its own, in its right. So literally everything, Cashin getting to the prison, Surreal being interrogated by Dedra last week, like all of that was a month ago. So that's why I'm sitting here saying, like, it's true that Andor will have a second season. So the season 2 is already, it was basically season 1 and season 2 of Andor were already green lit before the show even got here. A total of, I want to say 25 episodes in total. So I want to say definitely 12 this first season and 13 the next. People are sitting there saying, like, well, the ratings are bad, this, that, and the third. But I honestly feel like that they are still gonna, fully move forward with the second season. Just because there's many of us who just love the show. Even with the ratings and how they are. So, I'll look into that, look into the information on the film, and we'll see what happens. If they do start it, great, as soon as possible, get so that we can be able to get, definitely. That, when they announced the second, the 2 seasons, this was like over a year ago. So, maybe 2 years ago even. And people were just like questioning, like, why would they come out with a story on his character? He and everybody's like, well, we know how his story ends. And that's fine, but how does it begin? Technically we could get a book on that, but I feel like the show, for many of us, speaking from myself, from my perspective, I feel like the show is hitting the mark every single week for me personally. But that's just me. And I see the comments on my videos. Like, there are a few people who pop up and say, the show's boring and it's not in the third and not enough action and blah blah blah. But that's, people are not gonna, Star Wars as a whole. I keep saying it. Star Wars as a whole is not, the whole universe. It's not for everybody. But everybody who is a Star Wars fan can find something within the universe itself, even if it's just one thing that they can like or love, and everything else can just be like something that they just couldn't get into, or a few things that they just couldn't get into. It's just, you're not gonna like or love everything about a universe when it's come to a fictional world. So it happens. But yeah, guys, per the prison, what I was trying to say is that even though, like, episode 9, Shawma, what's going on? How are you? Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? I honestly feel like that if they look at, I was just telling Kyle here, if they look at specific key characters that fans love, that they will literally be like, okay, we're actually going to focus on these specific characters, like Dedra, like the ISB, like maybe, we don't know what's going to happen over the course of the next 3 episodes per this prison break. Hopefully, Andrew Serkis's character, Kino Loy, survives. Maybe he'll get a spinoff. Like I was saying here, I feel like we could get 2 spinoffs at least. Specific spinoff with the ISB, with Dedra, and maybe with Kino. He's literally become a fan favorite because of what transpired in this past episode. But with Cassian's character, again, like I said, because I felt like they were his character was getting overshadowed by the specific things that I named, characters that I named, that just basically, their stories basically were seemed more important to fans, because people were we were running to see the ISB, we were running to see Dedra's character, to see Partagas, to see what they were going to do. And even some fans were liking or loving Saru. Now we're going to talk about Saru in a little bit, because something specific with his character happened that I personally didn't like that they did with his. Seemed kind of weird to me here in episode 9. But we're gonna talk about that. Hoping that Acolyte has high quality writing like Andor. That's the hope. The Force is what I more so lean towards. But I personally do love stories like Andor a lot, where there's not much action. It's all dialogue. The characters are great. They're doing, actors are doing a phenomenal job at portraying these characters well. And even with a slow burn like how Andor is, stuff's just perfect to me. And I feel like many of you here who have subbed to the channel, who have left comments, feel the same way. But like I was trying to say, I feel like in episode 9, though, with the prison stuff, they were doing better with Cassian's character, but I definitely felt like it was more focused on Ulaf and poor Ulaf and what happened with his character. Because you could just see the signs, because he just could not. He literally could not. His body just couldn't take it anymore. 40 shifts, and that's the thing. He only had 40 shifts left. He wasn't even going to make it to the next one. And that's what Kino kept telling him. You only got a few shifts. That's not 40 shifts. Is not a few shifts, dude. But Korg is here. This guy, he loves his job. He loves what he does for the Empire. When he's talking to Bix about what's to come with the technique that he's going to use with the white, basically with the white noise that he's going to use on her. And I really love. I can't wait for the Ahsoka series. I really can't. Like, I truly can't. What's going on, Isaac? How are you, dude? What is going on? I just noticed that was you that talked about the acolytes. But yeah, I definitely hope the acolyte's going to be great. But yeah, Quarters here. He loves his job. He loves it a lot, and I love how Bix was. As they were basically preparing her for what's to come. I love how her expression kept changing. More fear of the unknown was happening. And I love that about Bix's character here in episode 9. And originally, like I was saying in the reaction to the live stream reaction on Wednesday while the episode had debuted, that originally I thought that with what they were doing with Pac before she got here, I thought that they were using some type of electrical stuff. But the Andor writing takes beats. Kyle says the Andor writing takes beats from true crime dramas with Dr. Gorse and psychopath, but not cartoony. He is so present as a role. Yes, he is. And that's the one show that I need to watch. I do need to watch True Crime. True Crime. Been meaning to check that out. But like I said, guys, I originally thought that they were using some type of electrical thing, but that's not the case at all. It was definitely just all noise for this specific thing. And and that's the thing, guys, you could actually hear the noise, how loud it could, as loud as it could get when he turned it on, per the red light on the bottom left image there. When he turned it on, it was like, it literally, I honestly, guys, because I just rewatched some of the episode here, or at least most of it while I was putting all these screenshots together, I honestly felt like that white noise could have drowned out the sound, specifically on our end, the viewer, had it been as loud as it was going to be. And I like how Dedra just popped right back into the room. So I have her here. Like how she just popped back into the room very quickly, just to say, we got to get the ball moving. And I definitely like how when the music was playing, because Bix was trying to fight them being ever, rebellious till the last moment. As soon as they put this on, and I want to do a video on this. I wanted to do it this week, but other stuff just took precedence. I like the fact that once they put it on her head, nothing but silence. Like, as soon as they put it on her head, it went from you could hear music to then silence, and just hearing her breathe. And you're like, what's getting ready to happen? Because she doesn't even realize what's getting ready to come down the line. And then, of course, once we get the camera panning fully to the front of her face, where her eyes are, she looks at us, we're looking at her, and then the inevitable happens within 5 seconds, 6 seconds, and then boom, she yells and screams. And I actually do like how they went from that to where are you? And I didn't grab it, but no, I did grab it. Let me go picture, and I'm gonna go. Let's see. Just this image here. Let me fix it. I like that they were turning the machine I want to say this was like drilling or something. They switched from Bix screaming out loud to the machine, and we're back at the prison with Cassian and crew. I honestly like how they did that. Just to kind of, I feel like that they were kind of like letting us know as the viewer, like, this is what it sounds like to her, but also what it could possibly feel like to her in her brain. So that's what I liked about that spot when they were switching it out. But I'm curious about this, guys. I'm curious about Cassian coming over here to this section where he popped open this spot. He grabs something to be able to cut and slice right, and he's slicing this this pipe or whatever it is. And I'm wondering what that is. He didn't even get a chance to even finish it because they were getting somebody new coming through the door. It really does. Editing is beautiful in this show, and it happened a lot. What I talked about just now with switching from Bix to the prison, it happened a few extra times because we were bouncing from Dedra to the and stuff to right, a diversion for the right time, right, from Dedra to Cassian, from Cassian to Mon Mothma, from Mon Mothma back to Dedra to Surreal. I felt like it just flowed in such a way with the editing, how they did it, even though it sort of felt like we were bouncing around, but we really weren't. It just flowed. It was just going. It wasn't linear. It was going in different directions to get us back to the same point, end point. Looked like he's been falling into a power conduit. Yeah, maybe not just Cassian. They could just be taking turns. They could. The one thing I specifically was curious about was I can't remember if I grabbed this screenshot here. If I didn't, I could probably do it while I'm here on the stream. Then again, I may not have. Let me find out. Okay, here he goes. So this specific character, I don't know if they gave him a name per the subtitles. I can't remember, because he was having specific conversations. Maybe that's what it is, the buy time. But at the same time, they did cut the power per what happened with level 2. But that only lasted like what, 3 to 5 seconds at best. So maybe that's what they're doing, trying to figure out a way to cut power as quickly as possible. This specific character, it's not that big of a deal, but Cassian had made a specific deal with this specific character, and we see other new faces here that, again, 30 days have gone by. We just didn't get a little bit of the backstory of how he met him, because he started having a conversation with him. Because again, what they're doing is they're talking about what's going on with the new admit on level D, where they are. It's actually the episode there. Where they were saying, remember what they were talking about? They were like, see how the electricity isn't touching it's not affecting the railings there. So they're basically like saying like, okay, if we get from where we're at here, maybe we can get up because it's safer up there. Because granted, down where they're at, that's where the harm goes into play. That's where they can get electrocuted. So they obviously knew that the ground itself, where their feet stood, there's no harm to them. But the railing is what they were concerned about. And of course, they see the new guy after he gets electrocuted, that it's safe for them to grab and hold on to. Let's see, Isaac. I don't think they explicitly cut the power. I think the power blinked out because they were electrocuting. Yeah, they did. It was a 100 people on level 2 bridge. Yep. If they could insulate themselves in a small area of the prison, then convince the guards to fry, it would cut power to the other floors. Maybe. Just curious and wondering how they're, what the actual full-on plan. And maybe they will talk about that with Kino next week, because he knows, most of the ins and outs of the prison. And we're going to talk about the prison itself in a little bit as well, because I got some specific images and stuff that I put together for here for the stream. Now, once we get back to Bix and Dedra, man, seriously, guys, after this specific thing happened, Bix was just like a forgotten character, because they basically got what, Dedra got what she wanted after here. But I like how Bix, when she seemed a little bit defiant still here, but we like how she was like moving her lips and responding to Dedra while she's telling, tell me everything you know about Cassian and Luthen and stuff like that. That's when she's like still fighting, but you knew that she just gave up. She just could not hold on any longer. Because plus Dedra tells Gortys that, don't turn it off just yet. That's what she said to him. Don't turn it off. So I'm like, yeah, she's getting ready to do it again. Like once again. It's like, man. So yeah. But like I said, guys, I feel like here in episode 9, it was about Cassian, but it was more so about Olaf and definitely Kino when it's pertaining to the prison. Because Olaf, he is starting to lose himself. 40 shifts, he's not going to make it to the next one. That's just being honest. You could just tell. He was forgetting things. He was much slower. Cassian kept stepping in to help him. You could see here in the screenshot images here that he was worried. Other members of the table are worried. And Olaf, he pretty much had been here more than likely for years. And time went. Father Time is undefeated at the end of the day. And at his age, he could be 70s, maybe early 80s, but I want to say 70s at best, roughly mid to late. And he was supposed to get out in 40 shifts from now. So that's why I'm sitting here saying that, it was just, the writing was on the wall with him. And it sucks so much because, again, we know that they don't give them breaks. They work them 12 hours straight. Kino even talked to Cassian last week, 30 days prior to the events here in episode 9, taking a break. You don't want to do that. Your table's doing really well. Keep up the great work, but don't decide that you want to chill while your teammate is kind of like trying to catch his breath himself, getting himself together. So yeah, it's just like, it just sucks for him. Give me 1 second, I'm responding to this message. And I forgot to ask, guys, if anybody can tell me, I forgot to ask, is the music itself, is it like too loud? I hope it's not. If it is, please let me know. We believe that they're, to be honest, guys, we just believe that they're building something for the Death Star. That's just what I believe that it is. That's just me being honest, like just seriously being honest. Like, it's something that they're building for the Death Star. But here specifically, and there is a connection from Empire Strikes Back in this scene, because they they pretty much just like throw Bix down on that bed. Yeah, we really don't have honest idea as to what they're building, but it's more than likely either for a Star Destroyer or the Death Star. But it honestly has to be for the Death Star, to be honest. But they just like I said, they got her out of the chair. They just threw her in the bed. But the connection from Empire Strikes Back was with Leia, where she's getting ready to get tortured with that syringe. And when they close the door on Bix, they show the person walking by, this specific person actually, and it's basically the connection of how the Empire did the same thing when they closed the door of her cell and the person was walking by. The camera panned down to their feet. So I like that little small connection that they decided to do here, per the specific scene. Well, as we see, per the how they're doing things, right? Using free labor from these prisoners. It's way cheaper than building droids to do it. So you gotta spend the credits to get the droid parts, and then of course then have them be built and then move forward. So it's way cheaper because the human body is capable of doing specific things over time. So, but now we get to the Senate. Now we get to Mon Mothma talking about key specific things per this scene, and various things are happening in the Senate here. Per what Mon Mothma was talking about, you have people saying quiet. You have somebody yelling out, quiet down. You have somebody else yelling out, listen to her. You have somebody else yelling out, long live the Empire. Various things. You have people turning off lights in support of that, basically meaning that they are in support of the Empire versus what Mon Mothma is talking about, what she's bringing to the table as far as the Senate. All of this stuff is happening. Boos are yelling back and forth between all parties in the Senate, is drowning out what Mon Mothma is talking about here. And I feel like, per the video that I put out today, where it was connecting that back on A New Hope, when Tarkin came into the room and he said that the Emperor has totally dissolved the Senate. This here specifically lets us know that the Senate is indeed slowly but surely being disbanded, being dismantled, because that's what the Emperor wanted to occur. He wanted to make sure that the Senate would fully get shut down, that there would not be, specific politicians coming against him, and he can just, do what he wants to do and fairly needs to do, moving forward without any pushback. But again, this lets us know here, that this is around the starting point. This is around the time that the Senate is fully starting to shut down. And it's going to get to that point where we see in A New Hope with Tarkin and talking to, amongst, his subordinates and everything like that. And of course with Vader in the room. And even with that, them sitting there like, well, that's impossible. How could that be? Blah, blah, blah. So, I love this spot with the Senate, and it just lets us know, like, it was starting to show signs that the Senate was going to be shutting down over the next, few years. And with the back and forth, and we also talked about the fact that, there was the power outage here. It did happen first where Kino was standing, but then we see more of it where things were happening. And Olaf, again, he just was out of it because he was asking, questioning stuff. But we do find out what really is going on with the sign language between people. Originally, I thought that it was more so them automatically talking about looking to escape, but it was just more so them just communicating with each other on a daily basis. And you said you feel like he may appear. If he does, great. I wouldn't mind seeing Palpatine pop up. But like I said, originally I thought that that's what they were doing, but they were just more so just communicating with each other. But with that, they, of course, that's when we hear about level 2. Stuff is going around. People are having specific conversations about specific things that are happening, to where they are now noticing that you don't want to get out of line, right? Kino's trying to actually tell people, just like, cool down, it's going to be okay, blah, blah, blah. Just keep doing what you're doing. That's basically what he's saying. But I love how Kino's character was shifting. He was changing. Per my video yesterday, his stuff was getting to him. Cassian was getting to him. Remember, he Cassian talks to him about, hey, did you ever think about escaping? How many men are on the floors? Blah blah blah. So I'm just like loving the fact that Kino's character is shifting. He appeared at the end of Kenobi, though. I want to see Grand Admiral Thrawn. Yes, definitely. I've already gone on record. Even did a video on it like months ago, like saying like, will Thrawn be in the thing? Uh-oh. The stream okay, guys? Is it okay? Because I feel like it's not bugging on y'all or anything like that. Because I have it on my phone, just trying to, hopefully it sticks and stays. Doesn't look like it's messing up on my end. But see, I'm not streaming from OBS. I'm streaming from Streamlabs streaming site. So I can't tell if the stream is like messing up or anything. It seems fine. Okay, we're cool. We're doing all right. We are doing all right. So it kind of cut out a bit here and there. Okay, that's what it was kind of doing. You see, it's fine. Per what my phone, because you get the circle of doom. You don't want the circle of doom, right? But now I skipped over. I skipped over Mon Mothma having the conversation with Cloris in the car about her cousin arriving. I just wanted to get to the moment of once she got home. We see who the cousin is, and it's Vel. She's actually, a part of the family. She has access to money, but with that they both are working to do specific things, and that is, of course, be a part of looking to shut the Empire down some way, somehow. And I love their conversations. I love how Vel, when Mon Mothma asks her a specific question, she's like, who? Because she doesn't want to say the name, specifically Luthen. But I love how they have the type of bond that they have between the two, per what the conversations that they're having amongst themselves here. It really is, right? Her fashion sense is really on point. Really, truly. I hope they continue to show how brutal it is in to be present out of revolt. Yeah, for sure. Now again, like I said, I'm going from scene to scene here. But then we get back to the ISB. And it's basically just the originally this is the spot here where they are giving the update on the mission itself, per what Dedra was going after. And it implies that according to their vow, right? Yeah, the vow. Yeah, they don't say anything about. Yep. Right, exactly. And I feel like too, because because you mentioned that, Isaac, like I feel like, my Mothma kind of slipped up a little bit because she has a lot of pressure already. Plus with that 400,000 credits and stuff like that. Right. Yeah, true. I feel like she just slipped up because she forgot about the vow for a split second, and she just kind of got caught up in that moment. But here with the ISB, Dedra's giving the full-on report. I wanted to say with this that I thought, because they didn't gain everything that they wanted, like Dedra didn't gain everything that she wanted from Bix, everything that she was hoping for, that I was sitting back sort of expecting for Partagas to come down on her because, stuff still isn't fully completed for what she was after. But I'm really glad that he was just like, okay, all right, that's fine. We're just, we are just gonna keep moving forward with what we, go with what we have. I'm gonna trust you continuously to get the job done. And I love that look. I love that Legret and June are like, questioning some things per this. So I definitely feel like, their characters are not just like, I honestly, guys, I felt like Legret got pushed to the wayside because specifically something got taken off of his plate. So yeah. Martha clearly wants Vel to be safe. Right. That's, that's understandable. I think Clea may have committed a war crime against Aldani. She suspects Vel was involved with Aldani based on the timing. Yeah. Because she doesn't, per the violence stuff. Of course, you don't know. You really don't know what's going on, what's happening, and this, that, and the third. Which is, they need to keep those secrets safe. Like, you're just out here doing this, and yeah, needs to stick and stay with that. But yeah, I think there was something that did happen in the ISB, but I don't think it's in this specific scene. I don't think. No, it's not. And then we go back to the prison. This is what I wanted to talk about. Conversation in the room. Yeah. So much, right? This is what I wanted to talk about. I love how they gave us more of the structure of the prison. I love that they showed more of the outside, because we were just seeing, like, I want to say the end of the day, like it's supposed to be light out, but then it's supposed to be dark. We were getting more so of the dark, like the nighttime stuff, where I feel like there's light shining through the building itself, and they gave us more like of what it looks like if it's daytime. I loved how they gave us this just before going back in and watching them switching shifts and stuff like that. Let's see. You said, I think you mean Cynthia, not Clea. Yeah, Clea wasn't it, right? Martha has protected Perrin and Lita from their involvement. There's no way she recruited Vel. That could be the case too. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with the prison. I think they both recruited each other. Yeah. Now, let's talk about Surreal for a brief moment before we talk about Surreal in a real moment. Him and his mother. She's still getting on him about, not living up to his potential and what his uncle wanted him to, blah, blah, that whole jargon. she's getting on his case. He's like, I noticed that you were in my room. She's like, I like to keep a tidy place clean and blah, blah, blah. But, with that, I love how surreal, even though he was pushing back at her, he did like tell her like, look, I get it. You love me. But by the way, because, you're expecting, high expectations for me, I got a promotion at work. And she got excited. That kind of just like was just like, oh, that's my baby, blah, blah, blah. There's a fan theory that Jung is or will be a spy for Luthen. The possibility adds a lot to our experience when watching his scene. Jung, I feel like his character can definitely be a fun character. I know he rushed into the ISB room, specifically here in episode 9. He was like coming in and giving a quick update. So I'm curious to wondering, because we do get some of his thoughts during, a couple of the scenes here. And of course, Legret too. But yeah, per Cyril and his mother, and I like how he picked up I had to get it. He picked up the piece of cereal and he put it back in his bowl. And there was something else. When she said, like his mother had said to him, like, you ignore me or you don't pay attention to me. And he started to sip the cereal, the milk from his bowl real loudly. I love that, how he did that in this scene here. I love that a lot. This moment was when Cyril literally hit his face in his cereal. Yeah, literally just talked about that. Like, literally, guys. Like, I love that. Like, because I felt like he was real adamant with saying, like, of course I'm not paying attention to you. And here's what I'm gonna do right now. But once we get back to the the dinner table and them talking, everybody's talking to their husband. He's being himself. If it is so, I would hate the fact. I'm not surprised because you put this theory in my head. What? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Sharma. So I think like I talked about with Mothma and Vel, like they do indeed care for each other. They give a goodbye, such a goodbye hug. But I love the dinner table, the conversation, Mothma's husband talking about Vel, talking about her love life, and the responses that Vel gave him were fun, because he doesn't know, that Vel is gay, but he does, but she's not saying that to him. She's just kind of just letting him have his own mindset of view on her, but she's still giving him specific responses. I was loving her responses. But I definitely love, like, once Vel leaves, I love how Mothma just stands here. Now she's staring forward, but you can't see it per the image. She actually lowers her head just a little bit per the scene, after like roughly 10 seconds after so yin and yang, these two, after Vel leaves. I love the fact that that this went down the way that it did per this scene. Okay, guys, time to talk about Surreal. Time to talk about Dedra. This specific scene, this is something that I personally didn't like how they did with Surreal. Maybe you didn't see it. Maybe you didn't view it this way. This is what I viewed, and it's totally fine if we disagree. It's totally fine. I'm not going to come down on you if you feel like it's a different viewpoint. But this is what I felt with Surreal. Give me 1 second. I got to respond to this message real quick. So, I personally felt that it was weird. I felt that Dedra even says it to him. Cyril seemed very, very. I just lost my thought. Yeah. So he is so obsessed. There it goes. He is so obsessed with finding Cashin, getting back in the good graces with the Empire, that I honestly felt like that this was out of character for him. Because he was stalking Dedra. He tells her to her face. He grabbed her. He made her feel uncomfortable. Like how he was just like personal space, dude, right? First and foremost, personal space. And then you grab her. Like I felt like it was just real creepy, dude. Like I said it during the live stream. I was like, stalker alert, right? And he's like telling her like, I feel something, and I believe that you do too. And, I want this, and I believe that you want, and it's just like, I'm like, dude, like, this is creepy. I don't understand how they decided to have his character go this route to where he could be basically a serial killer type of stuff, more so obsessed with stalking Dedra than trying to figure out a way back into this. This isn't how you do it when you're trying to get back into the good graces of the Empire. He could have probably reworded how he felt. I don't know, but that's just literally what I felt per this scene. And I just honestly, like I said, if you didn't see it that way, if you're watching this moment per the replay, if you didn't see it that way, it's totally fine. But that's just what I felt. Just felt like, it made, not only Dedra uncomfortable, made me uncomfortable just watching that scene. Because there are women that actually go through stuff like that with specific men. Not all men are like how Cyril approached Dedra and, said what he said to how he said it to her. There are women that actually go through that, and that just sucks. But I just did not like how they did that with his character. But then once we get to this specific conversation with the homie Tay, Koma, and Mon Mothma, I actually left a comment. Somebody had talked about Dedra, basically not wanting to go a specific route. It is too real. It really is. Yeah, it really is. Yes, it is too real. But when Tay says to Mon Mothma, like, the route that we're going, I've tried, I've attempted, I've failed. Now we got to go through some back channels, basically. And you could tell on Mothma's face that she just did not like what he was saying. She told him, like, you're bringing something up, but you're hesitating to actually say it. And then that's when she talks about, that's when he tells her about, basically the underground person who does dealings, under the table. Mon Mothma is still trying to do things to the best of her ability, for the most part, in a legal way. What he's bringing to her is definitely illegal, and she's just like, no, like, that's not what I want. And she, he's just like, he wants to come here to have a sit down with you. He wants to have that conversation with you. And I get it. Like, if you want to get stuff done in a legal way, you want to do it as close to 100% legal as possible. But what what I told the person in my response to what they commented on my video today on my Mothma. I said, like, Mothma's gonna have to get her hands dirty, and that's just what it is, because a lot of political people do. That's just reality. You know, uh, a lot of politicians are not squeaky clean in how they got to where they got to, how they operate in the specific position that they're in. It's not all, it's not all sunshines and roses when it's pertaining to the political scene. It's just not. But I honestly understand where Mothma's coming from, because you don't want your you don't want your reputation, because you built a specific reputation. You don't want that to have a stain on your reputation. So I understand. I thought it was absolutely in character, though. We already knew, right? Like, I knew, sure, Surreal, he was obsessed with Cassian. I can understand him approaching Dedra to say, hey, like, I really need this. But again, I just felt it was out of character for him to approach her in such a way where he evaded her personal space, grabbed her, made her feel uncomfortable, stuff like that. So let me see. It is righteousness, but I feel like for Surreal's character, it could be a righteousness that kind of went a little over, just to be honest. Yeah, definitely the final. What's going on, JP? How are you? Welcome to the stream. But like I said, Mothma, she has to get her hands dirty. She's gonna have to do this, because the right way isn't working for her. Once we get back to the ISB, then they're talking about trying to figure out how to. They bring up Krieger, so that this lets me know, lets you know that Krieger's coming. We're gonna see Krieger maybe next week, the week after. At least we have 3 episodes left, so we're gonna more than likely see Krieger between episodes 10, 11, and 12. That's just what's gonna happen. I'm glad that you enjoyed the stream, dude. That's what it's about here. We just want to have a chill conversation, be as civil as possible. I don't want any drama, to be honest. I just want to just chill with y'all and just have a good time. We can have disagreements. I don't name call. I don't do that. You're a human being. You exist in this world. You have thoughts. Your opinions are, should be validated. Shouldn't be pushed to the wayside. I feel like the show is getting better in each episode, and I'm glad that they start filming. Yeah, I think they are gonna be. Start filming soon. But I here in the scene with the ISB where they're talking about, Krieger, and they are actually looking to get rid of somebody and make it look like, Dedra even brought it up, like, make it look like an accident and stuff like that. This lets us know, like, the Empire with themselves are not squeaky clean as well, per what I talked about with the politicians in the Senate and stuff like that. But I love Partagas because June and Legret, he was just like, all right, we're going to do, Partagas is like, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And by the way, stop staring at me. He was just like, let's go. Because they there was like that slight pause. They were just like, is anything else? Or but he was just like, let's go. Like, and then they just hopped up out the seat and just left the room. I love this scene, specific spot where they were having the conversation. The Empire's not squeaky clean. Dedra bringing up the fact that they were going to try to cause a specific thing to make it look like it was an accident. Because again, they're going to be approaching Krieger, who is going to seemingly going to be coming into the fold. More than likely, probably going to come into contact with. We're probably going to see a scene between Luthen and Krieger over the next couple, over these next 3 episodes. Probably going to see that. We might see an interaction with Luthen and the Empire, and maybe Dedra. I think that's what's going to happen. Always enjoy a proactive conversation, provocative conversation. I think the downfall of Dedra is going to be real bad because I feel like everyone is hating her now. That's the other thing that I want to talk about in the video. Just touch on it briefly. They haven't dived into the fact that Partagas told her back in episode 6, when he told her to watch her back, because I honestly felt like Blevin was gonna come after her, but he didn't, because he had Morlana 1 taken away from him. Maybe that one will happen at the end of the season or next season. We'll see what happens. So at first, it seemed that like Saru was like, but really it seems like he's like Golem. People respect it from his authority. Like, yeah, nobody does, like, at all. He is by the book, but I didn't get a chance to talk about this in the, because that's one of the things I wanted to do with Saru's character, to do a different like an analysis with his character. I felt like the mission that he was on once he got to Ferrix was his first one, because you could tell that he's never given a mission speech. You could tell. I definitely feel like Blevin is still around. I feel like he's gonna come after. That's just what I feel like is gonna happen. That's just what I feel like it's gonna do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens moving forward. And now, on the last few images, poor Olaf. Like I talked about earlier. Like, man, like I said, you could tell. Like, Kino kept saying, like, he only have a few shifts left. Technically, it was 40. That's not, yeah. I recognize the attention. Dedra commended Cyril's his work. But she was just looking for what she needed. She's like, we're not going to talk about what you were talking about. I just need a description of Luthen, this, that, and the third. Because remember what he said. He was like, none of my notes, what is talked about, are in here. The stuff that I had mentioned, none of that is in here. None of that is there. Where is that? And she's like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about this over here. Ever seen it? It makes that power. Yep, it does. And I feel like, guys, like, Olaf, like I said, he was starting to forget stuff. He was getting behind. And, I'm glad. Let me go back. I'm really glad that his table, that they no, you know what? I have it. Let me go find it. I didn't put it together. I have it, though. Let me grab it. It's a specific... I thought that she did. Like, it was just more so like, saying like, like thank you for your work that you did, but just kind of just like move on, like basically what she was saying now. Right, he did. Here it goes. I don't know why I didn't apply this, because this is still key, or maybe I did, but I really like how, they just like put their back to him so that he wouldn't fall, because this is this, we know that if Olaf had fallen, like they would have gotten penalized hard. They would have been out in the middle of the floor and getting ready to get zapped, basically. Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Like it was just happening. Like it was just it he literally needed heavy medical attention right then and there. He needed to no longer work, and that didn't happen. Like literally, they needed to sit him down, moving forward, and maybe have him do basically light duty. Maybe mopping the floor or something like that. But again, that did not happen, and that's what sucked about how he went out. But I will say that I do like, because this reminds me of, because I work in a hospital. I actually gotta go to work tomorrow. I don't want to. I gotta work the next 4 days before I'm off. 5 days next week. I was supposed to go out of town. I was supposed to go back to Florida, but that's been postponed. So, because originally I was gonna tell you that I wasn't gonna be doing a live stream next week for episode 10 when the episode debuts, and I wasn't gonna be able to do a live stream discussion for episode 10, but that's basically still on point. 10's detail is real great. I'm curious how they're getting out next week. Hold on to your butt, we might cry. More than likely. But again, this reminds me of back at my job, specific characters wearing specific colors, and the fact that they have a medical person on call. I honestly don't think he's the only. I don't think he's the only medical person on call. But there might be a few. It probably isn't a lot. But I definitely like the fact that they have him wearing a different color there, because it stands out. Like, yes, he specifically does this, and this probably more than likely only. He's not at it, on a specific unit, and he doesn't go to the tables. He specifically just makes sure that workers are as healthy as possible, and then of course he's doing what he's doing, but he's straight to the point too with Olaf. Like, who knows? He did say he had the stroke, so Olaf just looked too pale. Nice. Wow. But with that, we do see the homie Kino. Like, this is the last straw for Kino, because we were seeing it with Cassian getting in his ear. We literally seeing Cassian ask him specific questions, wanting him to, like, hey, like, you kind of need to, you're just being used. They don't care about what we're saying out loud, and this, that, and the third. And what did he tell them here specifically? He yelled it out loud to kind of reassure them, like, hey, there's a rumor going around. This is what happened. We don't want them to find out, because that's basically what Cassian told him. Like, when he basically hit Melchi, because what Melchi said, what happened with Unit 2. You know, he's like, we don't want them to know that we know this information, but word is getting around. It is getting around. But here specifically, you know, he's just telling them like, look, this is a rumor. Don't believe the hype. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. But again, yeah. Because again, like you're saying, Isaac, he told Cassian, I got 249 days. I'm trying to get out of here. Do your job, do it well, so that I can get out of here. You know, I'm managing, you know, 49 men. I'm going to need you to kind of just like fall into place. I was, you know, not yet on board. Yep. Nope, he didn't. That's the other thing that you can say about Kino's character. He didn't rat out Cassian at all. You would have thought that he would have, because he's you know, under a year left in his. 30 days have gone by. You know, but that's the one thing that Kino didn't do. He didn't rat out Cassian at all. Yeah, seriously. That actually is a good idea. That's smart thinking. But again, for what we're seeing with the conversation and him, you know, asking specific questions like what's happening, and you know, the medic is like, you kind of want to keep your mouth shut. You know, it's a wrap here. Ulaf's gone. I don't need to know his name. Yeah, Kino just knew. He didn't want to. Because I feel like he didn't want to believe it himself. But again, he just knew. And again, you can see it on his face. The video that I put out yesterday with the various changes, and like I said, guys, I think I was the one that I was talking to you about that in the comments of that video. Like the video was longer. It was like 2 minutes long, but they basically blocked this whole scene here, and I think another section. But that's when I just chopped up where the medic was telling them, like, you know, we got to just like move forward because he's gone. And then that's when, you know, they were just like, all right, we just got to get out of it. You know, it's time to go. And of course, Cassian asked him, how many men are on the floor at one time on each level. I think he asked him like 3 times, if I remember correctly. Cassian goes, don't let everyone know. It's not good for everyone. But when Cassian suggests it's better, I think. Oh yeah, all right. Andy Serkis just given a war-worthy performance. Yeah, for real. But again, Kino's expressions, how he reacted, and you know, then we get what we got. You know what we got, because like I said, you're seeing the wheels fully turning. They were only like nudging a little bit, but you could see it in Kino's expression, because Cassian, he's ready. He's ready to get the heck out of there. We just didn't know, like, time wise, how long Cassian was going to be here. So he's been here for 2 months, at least 2 months. So he's basically getting ready to get out of there. Basically getting ready to head on out. More than likely, I would say within the next 15 days. I'll give it 15. At most. I won't even go a whole another month. I'll give it 15 days. I'll give it half a month. And you know, again, we get the specific question. You know, how many men are on the floor all at once? Blah blah blah. And he's like, no more than 12. Great line, great scene. That's why I had to put it in as the title of the stream. As like planting an idea to his head. Seen earlier as well that the Empire doesn't care about them. Yep. Even though Keenan was like, good luck with that, before he decided to turn his light out and go to sleep, or at least attempt. But it's I question that too, like with how many men are in that room, like when they're sleeping and resting and stuff like that. I think I have that image here. I think I do. I think I got it. If I remember. Give me a moment. Yeah. So I personally, I sit back and I think, well, how? But I believe that many people do want, Kino to survive. And like I said, maybe, possibly him survive so much he may get a spin-off show. Who knows? Per the character, that would be great. But I sit here and I think, like, you have somebody basically sleeping up above you, you're sleeping below, or you're up top on basically the bunk up top and you're down on the bunk below. It makes me wonder, like, how can people, right, talk about maximum security prison, right? How can anyone sleep in an area like this? Like, can people actually really get a full on, like, 5 to 7 hours of sleep being in an area like this? It's like a straight up consumed Skarsgård before filming to power up for his scenes. That's why Luthen wasn't in this episode. Takes time to grow another in the clone vaccine. Yeah, I think prison guards might be less number than Kino said. That might be the case, but if Kino's supposed to be a manager, so he should know that, at least that information. They're not going to give him all of the information, because then he could be a liability to to them, possibly escape, to somebody possibly escape. So if anything, he may know, like, that information, probably having them say, like, hey, like, you want to follow the rules. You want to make sure everybody else follows the rules, because if you don't, then you'll get zapped and you'll probably more than likely not be here much longer. So we know that, Kino was more like a yes man, like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll do what y'all want me to do. I won't question stuff. I'm just going to do my time. And, with him being quote unquote a good prisoner, that he would, the sentence might be lessened and then he'll get out of here a little bit sooner. So it's just like, you do wonder, because I know I was questioning, like, what did all of these people do? We know that Cashin just was arrested just for walking down the street, basically trying to go to the store to shop for some stuff. And he got a 6-year sentence just for walking down the street, just going to the store. So, that's why I'm just like, makes me wonder what all type of sentences do these gentlemen have here. Thanks for stopping by, Sean. Appreciate it. Definitely 3 episodes left. We will see what happens. We basically probably more than likely have 2 hours worth of content left to go, if they are indeed roughly 45 minutes long at the most, without credit scenes, without the opening and ending credits. So at the end of the day, guys, with episode 9, I honestly feel like Kino Loy was the MVP. Just being honest. honestly, moving forward, I feel like 10, 11, and 12 are just going to be just like great. Um, it to be honest, for Star Wars fans that feel like it was a slow burn, they couldn't really get into stuff. I was automatically hooked off the first episode. I always tell people, I suggest, because I can't make people do what I would want them to do, because at the end of the day, you're your own individual. You have to make adult decisions for yourself, especially when it's pertaining to entertainment. From your perspective, we know that even in the Star Wars universe, that people can be entertained or even want to be entertained immediately, roughly within the first 10 minutes of a show or movie. They need instant gratification. And I'm not saying like I'm not that type of a person. I know that, like, I watch Star Wars and I watch anime. Star Wars is my favorite fictional world, and then anime is my favorite thing to watch. So for me, there are anime shows, there are Star Wars content out there that caught my attention off the first, like Andor caught my attention off the first episode. Andor is not a heavy action based show. It is literally just a whole bunch of dialogue, a whole bunch of character development, and only like 10% action. And I love it a lot. But that's just me personally. I don't like any Star Wars show, but I like this one a lot. And that's fine. And you are allowed to have that mindset of everything else, because I didn't mention it. The Star Wars universe it's unlimited. It is, but every fan of the universe isn't going to like everything about the universe. They're just going to be able, they can still find something within the Star Wars universe that they like or love, even if it's just one thing. And it's just, there are people that look down on other fans because they have a different opinion on what Star Wars is to them, whether it's from George Lucas's mindset or from a author's mindset outside of the movies when it's pertaining to the books or the comics. Everybody should be able to have a healthy civil conversation to where there's no name calling. You shouldn't look down on somebody else for their own views when it's pertaining to Star Wars. If it takes one episode for you to like or love a show, great. If it takes a few, great. But like I said, for me, all I do is suggest to people, whether it's Star Wars or anime, to sit and watch up to 4 or 5 episodes of a show. Let the plot build. Let the characters try to gain your trust of them as you're watching a show or anime. And if it doesn't catch you within 4 episodes, it just doesn't catch you. You can put it down. You don't have to pick it back up. You don't have to watch it again. That's just how I view it. So use really big. I love for that. Something I don't like, I still appreciate. Yeah. Yeah, true. Yeah. There, people can find stuff within, there are fans of the sequel trilogies. They should be allowed to enjoy it and love it. And then, there are fans of Star Wars that don't like or love the sequel trilogies, and they should have a right to feel the way that they feel, as long as they're not like attacking actors and actresses and stuff like that. Not doing that mess, because it's not the actors' fault. It's the script writers. It's the what they were given. They have no say on characters and how they are presented to the fans. So at the end of the day, guys, it's entertainment. Like it's a fictional world. It shouldn't have a humongous impact on our reality. It should just be something that we can escape to, and even though it still has elements of reality in it, it's just something that we can just all just like sit down, break bread together, talk about, disagree about, but all in all, just enjoy each other's company and just say like, hey, we are Star Wars fans. We love this stuff. And, you know, whether we disagree or not, I mean, whether we disagree about something, that shouldn't be something that pushes us away from the table of having a, you know, a healthy conversation about stuff. Mm-hmm. What the Isaac, what you say, love? But can we all agree that opinions of, yeah, they do. Like I said, they do differ. They do. Because, you know, entertainment is subjective to the person, and not everybody's gonna like or love everything about a specific scene or specific characters. It's just not gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of people that like Cassian but love Dedra. Like, we love Dedra. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, Cassian, I felt, was being pushed to the side because the ISB was taking precedence. Mon Mothma was taking precedence. And, you know, his scenes weren't, for me at least, for me as a viewer of the show, they weren't like captivating as how the ISB and how, you know, Mon Mothma's scenes and other specific characters were. But Cassian's story still plays a key role in the entire show. And like I said, episode 9 for me was the best part of Cassian's story per this show that I've seen so far. And it basically took 9 episodes for you know, for it to get to this point for myself. I disagree with the fact that they pushed his sister to the wayside. Like I talked about in last week's stream, I feel like they still need to approach that, because that was a pivotal part of his story and what he was doing, what he was going after. And him basically escaping the Empire took precedence of that. And I feel like him searching for his sister should still play a key role in his character, because that's who he is. That's his family. Even though Mara did tell him like, hey, stop looking and searching. Everybody did, you know, nobody survived. But can't Cassian at least give his sister a proper burial, funeral, however he feels is best for him? Shouldn't we at least see that in the show? Or maybe next season. Maybe they decide to push it to the wayside until next season. But I just feel like, you know, that could be the case too. Could be. Some people were. There was. I think I saw somebody was saying like, you know, maybe Bix was his sister, but they are a love interest. That would be an interesting take if they decided to go like, oh, by the way, you know, Bix is, you know, I'm your sister. They kind of they had a relationship. They had an intimate relationship with each other. So no, that's not. You know, that's not his sister. So yeah, that's what I want to happen and occur with Cassian and his sister and his character. They can do that for me. I will feel a whole lot better about Cassian as a whole as a character. But all in all, Diego is doing a phenomenal job as Cassian. I'm not saying that he's not. So have a thing. Yeah, Bix is beautiful. She is a beautiful young lady for sure. But again, like I said, guys, you know, the focus has been on this other stuff. And I feel like, you know, the other stories within the main story shouldn't, for me as a viewer, shouldn't be taking away from Cassian's character, who's the main plot of the entire show. But like I said, his scenes just weren't catching me that much up until this past week's episode, where he was more engaging, more focused. But we did, like I said, we did see him like when he walked into the place. Let me see if I can find it. I think I have it. Let me double check it here. His face said it all right. Let me see if I have it. Let me see. Episode 8. Images. So right here, when he arrives at the prison, he's like scoping the area as he's walking around. He's looking at various things, even though the people are telling him, like, keep your eyes forward. He is indeed scoping out the area. He's just not like doing as he's told because he's here. Because again, when he was on the ship and he was arriving here, it was he gave a specific look. I think I have it. Let me double check it here. Here it is. When he's on the ship, they give this close-up look. They're peering through something. I like that too. He had this look as it was setting in on him, like, oh man, like, this is actually happening. I'm going to prison. Like, so stuff like this is what reels me in on his character. And another thing that I wonder, though, because again, they are going to need a ship when they look to escape. So they need some type of information, talk to somebody, something to where they gain information on when new arrivals get here. Because again, if they get out of here, they can't leave by water. There's no boats. Literally, we haven't seen a boat anywhere at all. And I think I have an image of more of the outside part of this here. Yeah, this is as far as I could get it. So as you see, there's out to the far back, there's land. It is beautiful, right? But there is land out there, but they can't. To me, it looks like this water is it's a cold area. It looks like it's just a frozen tundra out here, right? If anybody were to get in that water, they would pretty much freeze, drown, especially if you can't swim. I can't swim, just putting it out there. So if I was a prisoner at this type of a prison, I'll be a goner automatically, because I can't swim. So that's I'm just telling y'all now. Don't rely on me, because I couldn't be. I'm not reliable. I can probably help out with getting y'all out, and I'll just stick around and just reap the consequences. But I would need to. Literally, guys, I would need to be on a boat, even though I get seasickness. But I would still ride the boat until we get to land and then move from there. Nope. As you're looking, I'll go back to the image before. As you're looking, you see the prisons aren't that far away from each other. They're not that far, but again, you still need a boat, at least a boat. But you definitely need a ship to get off and out, out off the planet, off world. So, and basically, this ship here is more than likely going to another ship to actually go into hyperspace and fully just dip out and just get out of there. So they have to talk to somebody about finding out when new arrivals, like there has to be a scheduling for new arrivals every week at least. Find out the specific time when that happens, and make the plan happen to where they're just like, okay, all right, we need to look to talk to specific people, get them on board. A lot of people probably they're more likely, maybe some prisoners are just like, I'm good, like I'm sticking and staying. Somebody attempted it a few times, unsuccessful. There literally may be some people, they may run into some folks where they're talking about escaping the prison. They're just like, plenty of people tried to escape, none of them came close. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, who knows for sure. At first I was thinking about the prisoner ships, but how many of them would there be? Think about the cargo ships. Yeah, literally, how many would there be? 3 at best. Every once in a while, I want to say at least every week. Ship in, ship out. Yep, all the time. Yep. I want to say each week there's new prisoners coming through the door. There has to be. Because 30 days, a month has gone by. Cash has been here for 2 days, for 2 months at best, at most. I also want to believe that Melshi is somebody that may not be full on board with leaving. With his comment about them giving them a specific freedom, not the one that they want, and of course Kino reacting to that, to what he said to him. Well, to them, should I say? Yeah, I was able to get this here. When Kino says, when Melshi says that they gave them their freedom, and Kino responds with a punch to the gut. He didn't like it. He didn't like what he said. I feel like this is when the conversation that he was having with Cassian was starting to get to him. Everything there, not gonna get out. Of course, because again, we've been questioning and wondering, what are they building? But again, we're literally thinking that it's for the Death Star itself. If many of them escape, yes, there's going to be issues and problems with that. It's going to slow down the production of the Death Star. So that's why I'm saying, like, with Melshi, he might be one of the few that says nah. He might be one of them that might actually rat and tell. He might say some stuff to where they just disagree. Gave them all the freedom. It means they killed him. Yep, literally. That's literally what he tells them. Like, he gave them their freedom. They gave them their freedom. It's not the freedom that Kino was wanting to hear. So, like I said, per what they're building, they are indeed more than likely building something for the Empire. And I kind of like the fact that they don't show where these parts actually go, where they are being placed. Because we just talked about how prisoners are coming in here. They have to come here every week. When is the when do they take these completed parts out of the prisons and onto a ship that goes to where it's going? Maybe they'll use that specific ship. It may not be a prison ship. It may just be the product shipped itself. So yeah, I don't think, and that's the other thing, I don't think it's that huge of a deal to sit here and be like, oh yeah, like it was the, like it's not that huge a deal to say like, oh, they didn't tell us. Like I wouldn't be like mad or anything like that. But at the same time, it's in our face, and you're kind of wondering like, what specifically are they building here? That's what Keenan reacts to Melshi all the other time. Yes, he does. Right. Because Melshi does go to him. Remember, he goes to Cassian in episode 6, 7. I think it was 7. It's telling him specific things. Like, don't do this, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Spy thriller. Yeah, we got the heist, we got the prison break. Right. So they're more than likely probably switch up the arcs. Because they do say that roughly every 3 episodes, an arc ends in walking into a new arc within the first season. Because Cassian offers a solution which Kino's more receptive to. Yeah, he doesn't go along, but he doesn't shut it down. Yeah. Maybe because Cassian is saying, maybe he's saying all of the right things that Melshi isn't. Maybe that's what that is. But I could be wrong with what I just stated. Let me grab that, what you call it here? Yeah. So again, like I said, maybe Cassian is saying all of the right things that Kino needs to hear. Right, they do. So I'm just like, nice. Cassian he planted the seed, he watered it, and it started to grow into a plant of, yes, you know what? It's time for us to get out of here. No more than 12. So yeah. Solid episode, guys. I give this episode a 9 out of 10. Any other thoughts on episode 9 for y'all today? I should have asked more of y'all when y'all were here. There's only like 3 or 4 people here now. Of course. Because I'm pretty much getting ready to end the stream. So I'm responding to a message here. Said Mothma for you was the weak part. That's fine. For me it was Surreal was just the one that kind of was just like just didn't like how he was how he approached Dedra. Because like I said, there are women out there that experience stuff like that, stalker type stuff, and it's not, that he could have still talked to her without grabbing her, without being in a personal space. That's because I personally don't want people in my personal space, whether no matter who it is. So that's why I'm saying, like, I felt like that was not fully Surreal's character. There was just a small window that where it was his character. Is just his obsession pushed him to where he was like, you know, like I feel it too, and I know you do, and he, you know, I need this, and like he could have at least, you know, said this to her without doing it in such a way where it was uncomfortable for her. Because now, you know, now if they come in contact with each other again, like she told him, you know, I can have you arrested here, blah blah blah. You know, it's been 30 days. You know, what the heck? You know, why are you? You know, but again, like he said, he's been here, you know, looking for her. And I'm just like, dude, like, don't they have a phone number to call? You know, pester them on the phone. Yeah, right, yeah. It messed with her even when she got into the building. It really did. But yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I just didn't like this specific spot with Surreal, because like I said in last week's stream, and I think the stream prior, that I felt like Surreal's character was just like off, just like Cashin, set off to the side. He was just chilling at home, sulking and all of that, and I was waiting for him to get back into the fold of the story, which is more than likely going to happen. But I just felt like they shouldn't have had his character do this specific stuff. But he's still going to end up doing it. Like I said, still going to stand true to my own thesis of his character, is that he's going to still join the Empire this season, see Cassian maybe this season towards the end, but then eventually he'll join the Empire and move forward. That's just what I think is going to happen. But at the same time, he might not even, just like I said with Luthen, Luthen might not survive. I feel like maybe Surreal might not survive either. But that's just what I'm thinking. But I definitely want Desiree to survive. I want her to survive. I don't want her near the Death Star at all. Any of them. Either one. Just me and me. I want her to survive so she can get a spin-off show and keep living life. Because just like the Jedi and the Sith and the Force, and how they always bounce back and forth between sides of the Force of the spectrum itself, maybe that could possibly be the case. But like I said, this conversation here, this interaction, I feel like it's not going to go well again if they see each other again face to face. But just like the Jedi and the Sith, where they bounce back and forth between the light and dark side of the Force, you know, they do the same thing between the Empire and the Rebellion as well. So people keep bouncing back and forth between, you know, the light side of the Rebellion and the dark side of the Empire. So, you know, just something that just occurs. But yeah, guys, I am getting ready to get out of here. I need to go get some dinner. I need to chill out. I'm trying to think if I want to. I don't know if I can be able to. I don't think I have any. I was gonna try to push it. I could probably do it. Maybe it's gonna take an hour. But put a video together. It might not be about Andor. It might be about something else. Might want to push something out on the channel for tomorrow. We'll see. But I gotta go back to work the next 4 days before I'm off. Like I said, I was supposed to go back to Florida. I was in Florida about a month and a half ago, or about a month and a week ago, or something like that. I was there for a few days. It was my first time actually down there, being there. Needed to get away because I'm just dealing with some stuff here at home, and you know, life was stressing me out and getting on my nerves. And you know, I had a friend of mine, my best friend. She was just saying, like, we need to get out of here. You know, I'll pay your way. It was kind of her, and we went down there and just needed to get away, man. What's going on, Blue Pig? What's going on? How are you? That's literally, guys. I forgot to mention that too. I feel like that could possibly be a thing, where they force feed us Surreal and Dedra having a relationship, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Just being honest, that doesn't need to happen at all. But yeah, like I said, I was supposed to go back to Florida next week, but it's gonna get postponed. But I am off Wednesday through Sunday next week, and I definitely needed another break with what has occurred over the past 72 hours. I'm like, man, I need another break. So instead of me going to Florida, I'm just gonna be home. And that, like I said, I originally wasn't going to be able to do a live stream reaction to episode 10 next week, and then of course 2 days later, next Friday, a live stream discussion like how we're doing today. But as far as of right now, all of that is back in play. Definitely going to be live streaming at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time next Wednesday, November the 9th. And, you know, if you're up around that time, stop on by. Let's have a chill stream. Episode 9's live stream got blocked because of the sound I was playing in the background. So I'll try my best not to fully have it in the background, or I'll just probably watch it on my phone or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I wasn't expecting them to block my stream from last week. We'll see. But yeah, live streams on. Then I'll be working on videos for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Also working on, like how I did here, get these screenshots for episode 10, and in hopes of, like today, look to stream for a couple of hours from like 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to roughly 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we just talk about episode 10, our thoughts, our responses, and, you know, can't wait. Andor is just such a great show, great writing, great characters, loving it a lot. Interested in wondering who Krieger is going to be, who's going to be playing him. Will we see Saul Guerrero again, and his crew? Hopefully that will happen. And like some fans are hopefully expecting to see maybe possibly Emperor Palpatine popping up here in Andor in the show. We'll see what happens. But with that, guys, I'm about to be out. Hope you all enjoy the rest of your evening, noon, and night. Stay safe, stay humble, and remember, the Force will be with you always. I'll holler at y'all later, guys. Peace.